What's up, YouTube? This your boy, the Travel Trucker, man. We back with another video, man. Hey, if you're new to the channel, do me a favor. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, guys. Well, I ain't been posting the last few days. I've been out of town. I've been in Detroit and Cleveland. And it's been family time, man. But I just got something brought to my attention. I guess it's gonna happen, guys. The strike at the ports is supposed to happen October 1st. Now, don't quote me on this. I don't know the specifics of the details, but I know it's over some money and an agreement with the unions, workers, and the ports. And up until today, they have not been able to come to an agreement. So what we're hearing is the strike is supposed to be October 1st, guys. So what does this mean? Well, what does it mean? Loads at the port are going to suck. Freight is not going to be coming out. You're not going to be getting that big-ass TV that you ordered coming in from China, because Walmart and all them, even though Walmart has their own containers and they have their own shipping ships or whatever, the workers at the ports are not going to be moving the freight. So unless Walmart has its own port workers, which they don't, there's going to be a rift, and there's going to be a direct reaction and a direct effect of this happening. Now, whether they're going to strike for a day, strike for 2 days, strike for 3 days is yet to be seen. They may not even strike, but from what we're seeing, the ports along the Gulf and East Coast, something's going on. And from what I'm hearing in the streets, they're saying October 1st is going to be the day of the strike. Now, what does this mean for you as a truck driver? Let me tell you what does it mean. Your loads are not going to be coming out on time. Loads that you have scheduled may not come through. You're not going to have freight to move if you live in that region. And it's just going to be a whole messy situation. The good side of this is, let me tell you what the good side of this is. If and when this does happen, after this happens, prices will go based off of what I think may happen. Because you got to understand, if they stop moving freight, the demand is going to go through the roof. They're going to have stuff backed up. They're going to have to move these containers. They're going to be raising the prices. Or they can say, hey, we got a surplus of loads. A lot of y'all desperate for loads. We're going to lowball the price. You're not going to get what you want for that container. But me personally, I think it's going to go up. But the strike is supposed to happen October 1st, and we got to see where it goes from there. So let's see if we can look up some work or some news articles about this, and then we'll go from there. Let me see if I can put one up on the screen. All right, here we go, guys. We're over here on FreightWaves. Let's see what they talk about. It's a crowded table for longshore contract negotiations. Port poker and the East Coast dock strike. Here we go, guys. I told you. The sweetest words are, here is your end of the bargain. So a time-honored saying goes, that's never more true than in union negotiations where just about every player has a piece of the action, and particularly in the current bargaining between port employers and union dock workers at the 36 ports on the U.S. East and Gulf Coast. A public-private kerfuffle that's already gone all the way to the White House. Unlike contract talks, say, baseball team owners and the players union, which takes place under a glare of a 24-hour media, bargaining on longshore contracts is notoriously confidential, shrouded in secrecy, save for occasional dueling news releases that only succeed in flattening the actual drama that threatens to host hostage a good chunk of the U.S. and global goods economy. That's bigger in value than all the professional sports leagues put together. The rare leak of actual contract details is promptly disavowed as stakeholders wait anxiously for the next announcement. That's about how it's gone during the current round of bargaining between port employers represented by United States Maritime Alliance and International Longshoremen Association, which count 25,000 workers in container and ro-ro services at ports from Maine to Texas. Whatever talks were taking place came to an abrupt halt in June when the union refused to buy what employers were selling. The ILA, led by President Harold Daggett and his son, Executive President Dennis Daggett, has since refused to return to negotiations, ratcheting up the rhetoric by calling for war against employers and insisting that the docks belong to us. Now, it's traditional for unions to get paid when times are good, and most indicators are on the upward trend. GDP grew at an annual rate of 3% in the third quarter this year from 1.6 the previous 2 quarters, while lower energy, food, and transportation costs helped inflation cool to 2.5 in August, the smallest one-year increase since pandemic-influenced March 21. Throw in tight job markets, and that's why a number of high-profile companies from UPS to railroads, airlines, and automakers settled with their unions. Yes, machinists are on a strike at beleaguered Boeing, and thousands of hotel workers have walked off the job seeking higher wages and better working conditions, but mostly there is labor peace. Containerized imports through U.S. gateways continue to surge to near record levels, indication of how people feel about the price of eggs. Consumer sentiment to buy stuff remains resilient, a good sign leading up to the retail holiday season, which brings us back to the East Coast longshore labor dispute. As everyone covered during the COVID-19, container ports are a choke point in the supply chain and essential to daily life in the U.S. as water, electricity, and telecommunications. Disruptions have a ripple effect throughout the economy or exponentially compound as goods pile up at ports, terminals, warehouses, and other distribution points. So it takes longer to restart the flow of goods than it does to stop it, considerably longer. The domestic intermodal supply chain begins at a nation's ports with some exceptions. It's union employees who see the efficient handling of incoming containers through these ports. Here's where we see the players sitting in on a game where there's more than one winning hand and a pot that only grows larger. But the union contract negotiations aren't like winner-takes-all game of Texas Hold'em. The optimal outcome of any negotiation is that all sides are rewarded as part of the compromise outcome. But wait, it's an election year. That's like a doubling down for each container move. President Joe Biden courted union support in his abortive re-election campaign, going so far as to walk with auto plant employees on their picket line. The United Auto Workers, flush with new contracts, rewarded Biden with its endorsement since inherited by Vice President Kamala Harris, the Democratic nominee since Biden dropped out in June. So there's probably more than a little trepidation that a cable of importers, manufacturers, trade groups, and House Republicans tried to pressure Biden to block an October 1st strike by the ILA for the good for the country. There's a remedy for just such a move. The Taft-Hartley Act gives the president powers to intervene in the labor dispute if it might compromise the country's essential services, and orders a cooling-off period while the sides resume contract negotiations under federal facilitation. Taft-Hartley was last invoked in 2002 by Bush to resolve a West Coast dock strike that threatened the Imperial, his first-term agenda. So how thread a needle, Biden told businesses he would not block the strike, but he might be playing some semantics and still come back later and intervene like Bush or Biden can give the union some rope and let the work stoppers drag on just long enough to bake in 65,000 union votes ahead of an election where swing state polling is razor thin. Get employers to cave on a new longshore contract and ta-da, save Christmas. Man, oh man, guys, this is a deep story, guys. Make sure you go just check it out, man, on Freight Waves. October 1st is with us today, guys. Today's the 29th. I don't know, guys. Tuesday, we're going to see if the world stops on the East Coast, man. But hey, make sure you got enough goods in the home. It may not affect you. But I appreciate y'all for watching, and I'll see y'all on the next one.